Hello. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Well, I hope. Now, I think I did it right when I wrote the description down. That's a trigger warning. I should throw in on my channel, my followers, we handle business here. We do a lot of self-work. Now, if you're not in the mood, if you're just getting your day started, about to get off to work, I would advise you to swipe past me. The topic at hand is no easy topic, especially if you come from trauma. Yeah? So, there is my warning. So, just simply keep it pushing like a cart. Have a wonderful day. You know what I mean? I am not trying to trigger nobody first thing in the morning that does not have the time to work on these type of topics, discuss these type of topics. Right now, I am on a serious journey, and I've been for a few years now, just trying to figure out myself and how I work, think, move, why. The big why is what I'm answering for myself. And no one can give me those answers but me. And the hardest part about that fact is that I had help getting in my own way. I had help. Being influenced is a big, big problem. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're a child. Not to mention being groomed and not knowing you're being groomed. Also, having these types of conversations, I feel is so important. Especially in the Black community. There is a lot of challenges in my experience with emotional fluency, emotional maturity. It is a big problem. Because if you're missing just that, do you know the amount of damage you're going to do to your family? It's amazing the amount of damage you're going to do to your family. Just from that alone. So for me, I'd rather get the work done. I'm tired of seeing certain things, certain behavior, and just simply not saying anything. Especially since my nervous system reacts whether I want to ignore things or not. So I'm kind of like a warrior, and I move according to that energy. So again, before I get this wonderful video started here, let's call this my projection screen. Excuse me, I stutter. You'll hear that a lot. Might even hear mispronunciation of words. I accept my flaws in all forms. If you get stuck over things like that, I guess you might want to swipe past me. You know, some people I've experienced, when you make certain errors or mispronounce words, they kind of really get stuck on that and like to shame you, and you know, I don't get into all of that. But if you do, to each their own. Have a nice day. There. Go on now. All right. Now, this brilliant woman, I respect her so much. So much that I have subscribed to her YouTube channel, and I pay monthly to be a member with this lady. On point she is. And my Yoda voice. Listen, baby. You know how I judge stuff? Especially when it comes to information that people want to give. I judge it based on if it's relevant, if I can relate to it. We have a divine knowing within all of us. Unfortunately, lots of that gets dimmed down, especially in toxic family systems that don't know any better, that move in a way of controlling everyone. It's messed up, but that's what the facts are. And I like to discuss those facts, especially from experience. I don't like to talk from out the side of my neck. If I haven't experienced it, I'm not going to really elaborate on it unless I have a question maybe. But my stuff comes from experience. I don't open my mouth if I don't have anything to bring to the table worthwhile. Now, she's going to break down some very important information on how to understand the people in the family that think they know everything, that feel like they should be the leaders, that have misguided the family. Now, this is a very difficult pill to swallow, because a lot of people that are trying to be in a leadership position really feel confident in their own way that they know what they're talking about. And as I've learned, as someone that studies human behavior through astrology, through mental health, and other areas, we don't all know everything. And you play yourself when you perceive that you know everything and that people should just listen and follow you. There. Let's get it started. I will pause in between because I got stuff to say. Hey, baby, let's get it started. Again, trigger warning. If you're soft, if you're moist, if you're about to go to work, don't watch this. Don't come for me when you get triggered. You're going to have to learn how to control your own emotions. You know what I'm saying? But again, respectfully, if it's too early in the morning for this for you, I get it, baby. I get it. Have a wonderful day. Maybe check it out later. But if you are living a life where you want to stay safe, you operating in childhood trauma, you ain't tapped in because you're too scared to, you don't know how to, you have manipulated your circle to live a certain way so you can stay safe, you definitely don't want to watch this. Oh, I'm gonna piss you off. Not intentionally, of course, just because I don't cater to that sorry not sorry type energy. There. Let's get it started.
And insult you. In fact, they talk over you. These kind of families often have a defensive grandiosity at the core of who they are. Denial, vulnerability, fear, accountability, all of that is a shield. They don't want to have to deal with what is under the surface. When they have to deal with what's under the surface, that means they have to do a lot of digging. They don't want to have to sit there and reflect, self-reflect, and find beneath the facade that is often false, jealousy, anger, hatred, prejudice, racism, discrimination, marginalization, jealousy, fear, anxiety, depression. I can go on and on and on. Person with a defensive posture, a defensive barrier, a person who has defensive grandiosity comes off as confident, right? And they can sometimes come off as having high self-esteem. But the reality is that they are more so very weak and broken on the inside. They have a very low self-esteem, right? There's this deep-seated need to avoid toxic shame. They don't want to feel the shame that they feel on the inside, right? They want to feel, powerful and popular and on top and important and significant in everybody's life, including their own.
Now that part right there, I had to pause it. You know how many people in my family are like that? OMG. Now listen, it's a very broken system we live by. That's just my opinion of it. Most of us have trauma, but there are certain people that refuse to feel the way that they have felt in childhood. So this is unfortunate, but a lot of narcissists are created in childhood trauma. Yeah, it's true. Research it. And there are a lot of people that are narcissistic and family members. They are the Donald Trumps of the family tree. That's what I call them. The ones that simply outwit, manipulate, using the dark triad. Because for me, I'm at a disadvantage when it comes to that type of stuff, because I don't practice darkness. Unfortunately, but fortunately, I'm more honest, even though I've been damn near crucified for being so, but that's just what it is for me. I'm honest. So whenever I was around family members that were practicing the dark triad, Machiavellianism, dark empathy, narcissism, manipulation, I was always at the disadvantage. And then the worst part about that is I'm the oldest of my siblings, and I have been at a disadvantage. Number one, because I didn't know I had ADHD. That's number one. Number two, I was groomed by my father, and I didn't know it. I had to learn that the hard way in psychosocial therapy. And when I tell you it got real in that office, it got real in that office, because I was fighting them. Because I thought I was being parented. I did. Say whatever you want about it. I thought I was being parented. So unfortunately, my mind was sculpted in a way that was very negative. So I had to learn to live with a perpetrator, which skewed my perception on what right from wrong looks like, what toxic, healthy looks like, and how many people have that same experience. And then you try to go to the toxic people in the family, maybe the matriarchs, and a lot of matriarchs are damaged emotionally, not emotionally fluent. And this is respectfully said, but this is the facts. The further back we go in time, racism, like all of the bad stuff is more dominant. You know what I'm saying? So anyone that's like grandparent, great-grandparent, a lot of them been through severe abuse, racism, all kind of stuff. And how often do you hear them getting help with their mental state, with their emotions? Let's keep it a bean. If you want to talk about it, let's really talk about it. And then you go to those matriarchs and they have wounds. They have no clue on healing. They're just trying to survive at the end of the day. And what does that cause? More generational ignorance, abuse, neglect. You know what I'm saying? But she pointed out there's a lot of people in the families that do that, and they're not being held accountable. They're ruining family trees because they want to stay safe and ignorant. I disagree with that. I really do. Let's get back to it.
And they certainly can't do that if they are feeling less than you. Admitting error, apologizing, taking accountability for their behaviors or responsibility, and admitting something that they have done wrong only sinks them further into that rut that they feel they are in, that they don't want to be in. Psychological safety is sought through dominance.
Yep.
And dominance is sought through defensive grandiosity. Here's the definition of that right here on the screen. Psychological safety is intellectualized. As a matter of fact, Sigmund Freud came up with a...
I'm going to try to read this. Now, again, I announce, sometimes I mispronounce words. I ain't going to get caught up on it. I'm going to just say it wrong and then do my best. Work with me, y'all. So, defensive grandiosity. Defensive grandiosity is a concept used in psychodynamic research to describe inflated self-views that function as a defense against underlying shame, insecurity, or vulnerability. It is often used to describe a narcissistic personality structure or personality pathology that believes themselves to be higher than they ought to. I have a lot of folks in my family that is like that. Really. And because I always struggle with my words, as I'm an imagery person and behavior. So a lot of the people that are in my family that are really good with words, thought processing, all of that works, they look down on me. And people like me, unfortunately. Not all of them, a good few. Also, when it comes to them, I've always been at this disadvantage when it came to those type of folks in my family, because I was groomed. So my abuser, aka hey dad, set me up for failure. He turned me into a remote control. That's what you do when you groom a child to not tell on you because you're cheating, and then you take your children as the father to the affair's house because you're trying to get your freak on or whatever. And your affair, she got children. And in my case, she had a daughter and a son. See, I was like around 7 years old and my siblings were younger. I'm going to post a picture of that age, how it looks when it comes to me and my siblings after this live. Again, if you're getting tight, have a wonderful day, but I won't apologize for exposing my truth because that's just simply what it is. Respectfully. But that woman's son, I'm going to put her name out there, Miss Jerry. Miss Jerry's son, he was 11. And when I tell you this little boy was a freak, he was I don't know what the heck he got exposed to, but he was off the hook. Off the hook. We talking about, I can't go in detail. I don't want them to, you know what I'm saying? You know what they do. But let's keep it as clean as possible. But when I tell you, he has been exposed to pornography, maybe gay relationships, incest. And this is an 11-year-old little boy. As a woman that has raised children, my heart goes out to any child that's exposed and they off the hook by 11. That's really messed up. But this boy, when we would go over this house, because, you know, my dad, he was high energy guy, athletic. Really, he's the type of guy, he like to go where everybody know his name. He's very social, Sagittarius, you know what I'm saying? Athletic, you know, he was very popular. Unfortunately, he got into drugs young. And I believe, this wasn't diagnosed, that he has ADHD. I believe he had that as a young boy. And I also believe that oppositional defiance was right around the corner from that. So I would say what combined type. I'm not a diagnosing doctor. I've just read a lot, done a lot of research, and I know a thing or two. But he had a lot going on when it came to poor impulse control. So when it came to that situation, we were with him so he could get a chance to parent and bond, because he would be missing in action a lot. So my mom wasn't having that. Like, you know, you take your kids with you. You're not about to sit here and just keep them here with me and they're not, you know what I'm saying? So he take us with her. But you think he wouldn't cheat and do all that crazy stuff? Yeah, that him having us with him did not stop the party. It just did not. So we would spend nights out at this woman's house. And when I tell you I could not sleep because her son was so inappropriate, I had to be on guard protecting me and my sister. My brother was there too, but I think he was in a different room. But when I tell you, young boy was off the hook. We talking about digging in areas. Like, I went down to go get a snack. I wasn't supposed to. I was often struggling to get to bed at night. Insomnia. You know what I'm saying? Other issues as well. So I went down to get a snack, came back up. He's got my sister in a compromising situation in the bed because it's bedtime. Totally freaked me out because it was really inappropriate. And she, looking back today, because I'm conscious, I'm an adult now, I was like a 7-year-old kid then. She disassociated. And when I tell you, she was laying down, face turned to the side, finger in her mouth, no sound, no face expression, tears just coming down her face. And I don't know, he was doing stuff. When I tell you I ran in there, yo, what is you doing to my sister? Moved them, pushed them off. At that point, I knew I had to be on guard. Almost every night we had to return to Miss Jerry's house to protect my sister. And me, really. But I was always big for my age, tall. So even though I was 7, I was a pretty big 7. So I would lay with her, and I would always feel an urge to protect her. And I never knew it started from that incident. And then I didn't have anybody to protect me. This was what it was. That messed with me as well. And then I became a victim of his abuse also, just to spare her, which caused me to bedwet when I was around 7 and 8. Didn't know it was associated with being touched when I didn't want to be touched. Peep game. Again, if you got a weak stomach, you're easily triggered, you might want to swipe past. I handle business over here. I'm not catering to no one when it comes to my story. You either can stomach it, can take it, want to hear this just in case you can relate, or you can't. So go that away. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So, yeah, it got pretty real in that scenario for me. And I didn't have anyone to tell because I was intimidated by him. He controlled me with fear and like scary face expressions. I was very impressionable. Like if he frowned his face, that would put the fear of the devil inside of me. Like it looked like, oh, he gonna punch me right in my face. So I was scared into submission. So I just would protect her as much as I could. And my brother, if he needed to be, you know. But let's get back into this after I done read this to you.
Of defense mechanisms to help us make sense out of people like this. Know-it-alls. People who want to cover something they don't want you to see in them. Here's a listing of his defense mechanisms right here on the screen. And know-it-alls use them all the time. Intellectualization is one of them. And what intellectualization does is it removes you far from the emotional side of things. And everything is thought out and reasoned and put into a zone of logistics. Nobody wants to look at the rationalizations or the logic of things. I'm
going to read that. I'm going to read this. I don't know if you guys know about Sigmund Freud. Do your research, people. I know it's probably boring to some, but when you have a lot of things that happen to you, especially in childhood, you've been victimized, and now you have behaviors as an adult that you don't necessarily understand. You just say, I always been like this. There's a reason you're like that. And you may want to do some work because it may no longer serve you and you're still showing up under trauma mode and creating trauma bond relationships. I mean, again, do the research. Can't make this up. So defense mechanisms, repression. You know about that one? Unconscious blocking of unacceptable thoughts, impulses, or memories. Yeah, it's a thing. Denial. I don't know how many people I know that's in denial. Oh my God. Refusing to accept external reality because it's too threatening. There's a lot of people walking around this joint moist in their feelings, scared, because their inner child is controlling their adult decisions, their adult life, their adult relationships, and you don't even know it. You walking around this joint, a 32-year-old, 8-year-old, emotionally, still trying to stay safe and control everybody and everything so you don't revisit those feelings of trauma. It won't work. You got to do better. You got to walk into that difficulty, or else you're going to be staying stuck and you're going to revisit the same failure year after year. You cannot grow because you have to increase your knowledge. The script that you're playing off of no longer serves you, but you're still using it because you're scared, or you don't know, or you're ignorant, or you're controlled by someone else, or let's do our work, people. Projection. Attributing one's own unacceptable thoughts or feelings to others. Boy, oi, oi. I used to do some of that when I was ignorant. Didn't know I was victimized. Didn't know I was groomed. I was showing up all needy and just doing way too much people pleasing. It's crazy. Displacement. You know about that one? Let me read it to you. redirecting emotion from a threatening target to a safer one. Huh? Huh? Yeah? Come on now. Regression. Reverting to earlier developmental behaviors under stress. Do you understand how many people in my family do that? As soon as they trigger, their 14-year-old self takes over. They could be 48. You see a child having a whole reaction to the trigger. Because number one, they never faced it. They never unpacked it. They never created a way to soothe themselves in it. So they just react. Or fight. Or either way, it's unhealthy. It's toxic as ever. And then you got our kids watching this behavior. And what do kids do? Watch and learn. And then when they copy, do you think the parents or the matriarchs see it for what it actually is? No, they don't. It's just a failing system all the way around. I ain't for it. Reaction formation. Transforming an unacceptable impulse into its opposite. This is just really nasty. It really is. Last one, rationalization. Creating plausible explanations to avoid the true motive. Oh my God, there's a lot of that in my family. You know, don't want to worry about what the real reason is. They're thinkers. See, I'm not good with the thinking. I do work to get good with it because I'm easily distracted. I have an overactive nervous system. You know, all my senses are heightened. So stimulus around me distracts me from being able to process thought. So a lot of times I gotta get a controlled environment. And if I don't have the option to do so, I have skill set now where I know how to navigate my disadvantage and my difficult areas when it comes to trying to think and comprehend without being so distracted by the external stimulus. Huh? Come on now. Let's get back into it. She about to go in. And I gotta go somewhere after this live. I just had to drop this book on y'all, on your chesticles, so we can get this popping. Because change is not going to come unless we change and do something different. Quit doing the same thing expecting a different result. Is that not insanity? Oh, righty.
Time. Sometimes it makes sense, other times it doesn't. This is something that I see a lot of in families where somebody is trying to express themselves emotionally to mom, dad, a spouse, a cousin, a sibling, and the sibling turns around and says, "How dare you talk to me like that? I remember you did that back in 1974. Research suggests that people who do that have low self-esteem. And you have a low self-esteem. Because a lot of the medical research says, and you may be sitting there with tears rolling down your face, and you're looking at them like, I can't believe we're quoting research right now. You're so far removed from what I'm feeling. And to come out of that zone of intellectualization, that person would have to sit in them, you know, in their own emotions. They're not going to do that.
Had to chime in. I absolutely have had that experience with my youngest sibling. Unfortunately, we were groomed to lie to our mother, but I was groomed in a way more, oh boy, let me watch these words. I was groomed on a different level than my other siblings. When I tell you, she didn't realize that, and I didn't realize it. So when I would try to tell my story to this younger sibling of mine, number one, she wouldn't have it. A lot of times she would say, oh, you deserved it. You was a hoe. Dad wasn't wrong. You was doing this. You was doing that. And unfortunately, I did seek intimacy in other areas because he was just so aggressive with me. Most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, if I wanted to hug my father, it would hurt. He would squeeze me way too hard. Everything about how he played most of the time was uncomfortable for me. And I didn't realize I was targeted by him. I was the oldest sibling, so his version of trying to prepare me as the oldest, it was mixed with like a sinister motive because he was a drug addict and an alcoholic. And unfortunately, my temperament is different from my sisters, where I'm more like a creative thinker, a warrior, and then I'm a Sigma empath, which was created. That was activated in my childhood, because you get activated Sigma empaths anyway in trauma, and it turned on my inner warrior. So I start learning how to read situations and protect myself and others, and I start learning off of that. So mindlessly, I start knowing how to navigate traumatic situations with ease, something that a lot of my other siblings didn't know how to do, especially my youngest sibling. She was very much an easy victim, and I perceived that about her. I just didn't know the verbiage that went along with it. And she was shaming me in a lot of ways, the same way she just explained. That was my experience with my younger sibling, but she just didn't understand what our father did to me, because I didn't know to explain it. I was an ignorant, naive child. I thought he was parenting me, not abusing me. It's not the child's job to figure that out. But we're going to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Because I could tell my story. I don't need nobody else to. Even though there was a smear campaign in the family about me. I love it when other people want to take your story and go try to tell it for you for clout. They're there. You're doing a lot, ain't you? You're doing a whole lot out in these streets. Watch and learn, my nigga.
They don't want to do that. That's vulnerability, right? So what do they have to do to avoid vulnerability? They have to know everything. They have to come off as important, grandiose, defensive, confident, high self-esteem. I'm not going to look at you while you're crying and say, oh my God, I'm so sorry I've hurt you, and give you a hug. That's admitting fault. That's admitting error.
Yep.
And in some cases, that's being obedient. Obedience is valued in these kind of families.
Yep.
Over mutual understanding. So, I don't care what I've said to you, you're going to obey me. I'm not going to apologize, and I'm not going to be accountable, but you're going to obey me in my profession. I hear that all the time. Stay in a child's place. And the child is crying and trying to express themselves, and the parent says, stay in a child's place.
Yep. Which
is fine in some areas and at certain times, but sometimes parents will use that too freely, and it just cloaks everything. These kind of individuals do what we call mentalization. And what that is it's a mentalization failure. Here it is right here on the screen. A mentalization failure is low reflection. These individuals, sadly, cannot reflect on their own behavior. They don't have the ability to.
Yep.
They don't have the ability to go within and look at their inner states.
Had to stop it again. How many of you got family members like that? Stop lying. How many? Squeeze me. You know what I'm saying? You think we having family meetings on this? No. A lot of these people with this injury on the family tree is running the show. Into the ground, no doubt. Look at that. Mentalization failure. Peak game. When mentalization is working, you can recognize that feelings influence behavior. This is when it's working. You can hold multiple perspectives at once. You can tolerate uncertainty about others' intentions. You can reflect on your own inner states without being overwhelmed. Mentalization failure is a temporary or chronic breakdown in the ability to understand behavior, your own or other people's, in terms of mental states, thoughts, feelings, intentions, beliefs. That's when it's working. Do you realize how many families, not just black families, but how many families are toxic on levels that's, oh my God, listen. We got to stop. We got to call this out. And we got to do it in a way that it can be heard. Not through yelling, not through shaming, by keeping it real, keeping it a being. You don't have to be mean to deliver a message. Toxic people like to be mean. Psychopaths like to be, well, no, that's the next level. Sociopaths, there's no empathy there. So, unfortunately, that is what it is. But the more you learn about human behavior, mental health, you won't have to question yourself so much. You'll simply know what you're looking at. But see, a lot of people are not educating themselves properly. Just because you graduated 12th grade doesn't mean you're done learning. Just because you went to college and got a degree doesn't mean you're done learning. Human behavior is very important. And often, people are limited to where you stop at your own knowledge. So, as much as you know is as high as you're going to get. Consistently increase your knowledge. There should be no point in time where you ain't reading a book or doing something to further your education. And I mean in an area that is a necessity. Human behavior. Upgrade yourself. Not just your damn phone. I'm saying, my God. Let's get back into it. What the? I'm just playing.
What would be their inner states, you're asking? Excuse me. The inner state of their heart, what is their heart saying? The inner state of their mind, what is their mind saying? The inner state of their soul, what is their soul saying in response to this, right?
Yeah.
Being able to go within. Therapists are really good at this. Good therapists are really good at this. They go within. What am I feeling? What am I thinking right now? What am I experiencing in response to you? What am I experiencing in response to this, right? Mentalization can be very powerful. It's telling you about the situation. It's telling you about the temperature of yourself and the other person. It's a lot of intuition that is taking place there. But if there's a mentalization failure, then you don't have the ability to ask the questions that you need to ask. You need to know what is going on right here, right now, right? And that's not possible in all of life situations. And it's going to be difficult to deal with having to hold many views at the same time. Life doesn't give you that clear-cut answer. You've got to deal with a variety of different views, right? Or a variety of views at the same time. So it's difficult for people who intellectualize and they have a defensive grandiosity and they tend to be know-it-alls. It is very hard for them to have different perspectives at the same time because they want things to be a particular way right now. You feel like this is somebody in your family dynamic and they have completely destroyed your well-being, your life, your mind, your heart.
Yep.
Then you definitely want to keep on watching.
Girl.
All right, guys, let's go ahead into the challenges. What are the challenges within the family dynamic? Let's start with invalidated feelings. Unfortunately, you are going to deal with a family dynamic that chronically invalidates your thoughts, your feelings. Know-it-alls do not want you to feel that what you say and do and believe and think is correct because they're know-it-alls. They have all the answers. They have all the correct perspectives, not you. The other thing you're likely to see is a rigid narrative. They want to make sure that everything is the way that they say it is. So you're not going to have a say. You're not going to have a different opinion. You're not going to go around the family saying A, B, and C because they've already talked to Uncle Baby over there. And Aunt Susu's going to already know about what happened on Tuesday because she's already gotten to Aunt Susu, right? So you're not going to operate the narrative. You're going to be quiet because I'm going to get to everybody to make sure everybody sees the narrative in my way. So there's going to be a negative narrative. Conflict, right, is going to shift to you're the problem. You're the issue. This is your fault.
You know I had to stop it. That absolutely has happened to me and my mother. Smear campaigns is what it's called, where one family member can't control you or your behavior or how you show up in their life. So they start the smear campaign bullcrap, where they want to go around telling exaggerated truths about their experience of you. Lacking accountability, no doubt. Won't tell what they've been doing. Not at all. That's different. Let's leave that part out and just smear you all up and down the family tree because you didn't do what I needed you to do. You didn't listen. You didn't validate me. You didn't, whatever your sinister reasoning was, I didn't do it. So you're going to go trash me to the family. How you doing on that anyway? Did it go how you figured it was going to go? No? I noticed you slid in my TikTok a couple times. I mean, I welcome you. You know, I'll always love you. You know who I'm talking about. Huh? I'll always love you. But wrong is wrong. That's not what you do. You don't go smear your family members to other family members because you're looking for someone to validate your immature behavior. That's not how it goes. If anything, we need to revisit our childhood together in a way that's supportive. And if you can't do that, that's fine. Go that way. Quit bringing down the family because you need somebody to validate you because you won't do it yourself. Rather, you don't know how. That's a whole nother conversation. That's your homework. That's your self-work. How many people are running from their self-work and just looking at other family members that are easily manipulated and then living off of their sweat on their brow? If you don't get the... Listen, no, that stops today. You got the right one now. I done learned what the dark triad offers, and I can see it for what it is in my family. And I won't fall party to that. You cannot manipulate me anymore. You just can't. I'm like very unbothered about it, actually. I move a certain way now because I've learned better. But you're going to have to learn the harsh lesson of what your behavior has caused. Karma exists. Whatever we do today translates as something in the future. That's karma, my opinion. Just like right now, if I go outside and slap somebody, let's go to violence. That's going to translate. Something's going to happen out of that. If I go outside and I steal from a store, that's going to translate into something. But if I donate to a needy family, that's going to translate away too. So what do you put in karma's pot? And that lets you know what you're going to get out of it. Shame on you. We're supposed to plant healthy seeds and grow the family trees. And you doing all this sinister work because you want to be validated, because you are wounded and confused about your childhood trauma, no doubt. But I'm here for clarity, baby, all day long. Also, boundary pushing. That's a problem. When someone says no, it means no. Don't force your love language on people. Who you think you are? Respect is due. And if you don't know how to respect people or don't care to, go that way. Quit forcing yourself on people because you just want to be had for whatever the reason. That's personal. Allow us to mind our business. Don't come messing up our peace because you looking to survive because you don't know how to live. There. Let's get back into it because she getting into this. You understand? She getting in there. Woo! Feels good.
Why would you do that, right? So you, and you is the issue. You're the issue all the time.
Preach,
and that's
girl.
where it's going to be. Questioning. You're not going to be able to question in this family dynamic.
Nope.
Defensive grandiosity, I'm up here. You don't have questions.
Right.
Questions are disregarded.
Right.
Questions are disrespectful. Questions are not acceptable because that defensive grandiosity puts them up here. You don't have questions. You go along. There's never any reparative work happening. Yes, I hurt you. Yes, I said the wrong thing. Yes, I told the entire family about you. But I don't care. Get over it.
Right.
We're going on to the next thing. Maybe the next family member.
Out of pocket.
Right? So there's never going to be any reparative work that's going to happen in this dynamic. Self-correction is lacking. They're not going to be able to see what they do wrong. So they're going to hurt that family member, 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 and you're not going to have any say about it. And neither are all of the family members who have been hurt by that person, because there's no intuition. There's no inner state that they can look inward to. Right? There's nothing that they're going to be able to examine and process because they don't have the ability to go inward. The Dunning-Kruger effect, here it is right here on the screen. Oh, this is so frustrating.
Yes, it is.
It's overconfidence without insight.
Yes.
It's low insight and overestimating what they know. Oh, I hate this so very much.
You know I had to pause it. I hate it so very much myself. Oh my gosh. And I got a lot of that in my family too. Low insight. Your inner child is not even, number one, healed or healthy. So you have this biased way you're representing yourself and situations, and you're self-serving, self-righteous, bad. Probably has severe trauma, no doubt, because a lot of people in my family have. And when I tell you, it's an absence of accountability because it's so much drug use and alcoholism. And then you got the dark triad working. People that know how to navigate into darkness. A lot of them been raised by dark parents that were not emotionally available. You know how many times I watched this? Has broke my heart. Watched my cousin be verbally abused by his mother. Watched certain women in my family demasculate their sons to the point of no ball sack return, just chopping them down like trees. Listen, Linda, what the? Come on. This ain't it. You have to feel something, some sort of remorse. Unless, like I said, you're a psychopath, sociopath, self-righteous. But we got to stop letting those folks lead family trees. We have to start tapping in our inner warrior and standing up for something, or we're going to keep falling for everything. We in our own way of change because everyone is cowering and trying to stay safe and comfortable. That doesn't equate to change. Change is uncomfortable. It is, because it's not familiar. And people that's looking for familiarity, they won't change. That's why I don't mess around. If you comfortable and you want to stay there, bye-bye. And I'm not talking about comfortable as far as creating a woo side, you have peace. I'm talking about when it comes to a growth mindset. When you have been teabagged into trauma. The trauma's the water and you the teabag. A dip. You have to recreate yourself. You cannot take that mindset and try to make a life with it. Because you've been taught trauma bonds. And that's what you're about to lead within your relationships. And then you're going to raise your children that way. Miss me with all of that. We can do better. So we need to start. These phones and devices is not just to swipe so we can crack up all day long. It's research on these too. Libraries still work. I love a library. You know, sometimes I'll try to see if my kids want to go. They don't be wanting to, but I grew them up in the library. So when they know to use it, they probably will go because I exposed them. I gave them me. You know what I'm saying? I gave them me. I bonded with them. They're going to know. Especially now that I don't have any more children. All my children are 18 and up. So now my parenting ends. I am a mentorship program at best, baby. I'm not about to live vicariously through my child. I'm not about to be toxic, tell them what they need to be doing. No, they're their own people. I already raised them. Now they get to do and create their life. And I'm going to step back. No matter how painful it is to watch. Because y'all know what our kids is exposed to. Some of us tried to do the best we can. And some of us didn't. And my kids have been through a lot of stuff that's really toxic. Really, really messed up. That I've warned them about. But I wasn't the perfect parent. It was certain things I didn't know that I was ailed with that has influenced them. But like I said in my other video, once I realized that when I was going to social therapy, I'm saying when I was going like I'm not no more, but I let them know where I'm broken and how that translates in them. See, this is the type of work parents need to be doing. But you're too busy wanting to be right, too busy wanting to be safe. You showing up a hot mess in toxic marriages, toxic relationships, love bombing people. That's foul as heck. And you can't get me to agree with it. I just simply don't. Because anything you could do in the darkness, wholeheartedly, you could do in the light, in a more positive way. You choose in dark because you stay in dark. It's so much more out here and you're limiting yourself to darkness. Why? Are you a demon? Has your soul left the building? Have you been victimized to the point of no return, or you think the point of no return? If you have, that sounds like homework. That don't sound like an end. You got homework. We all have the struggle in some type of way. Quit comparing yourself to other people. Yeah, I said it. You ain't them. They don't have your reality. Quit comparing. Go find a mirror and look in that joint. And start peeling your layers of protection off until you are raw and ugly. And then get that work started. Quit blaming too. Even if you have somebody to blame. Like I can blame a lot of people for what way I was done foul. But at the end of the day, if I keep blaming them, I don't have the stability or the accountability to change. That means I would need them to change. And if they don't want to change, then I'm stuck. That's not the reality. I can change, and I have. Because I hold myself accountable to ways that I have been victimized. I had to learn and accept it. And I had to let my heart break. Damn near died doing so. But that's what it takes to be reborn. It's more than one way to be reborn. Not just dipped in holy water or going and being baptized. Sure, that's one way. You can be reborn multiple different ways. Do your homework. Do your homework, people. No, I don't know everything, but I know enough. And I'm going to keep knowing because I'm going to keep learning. Books is my prison. It just is. I move a certain way. And I learn better than what I was limited to. You have to learn out of your ignorance. That's what I had to do. Or else I was a sinking sub. And that's what I was. Running around here people pleasing. I was turned into the black sheep. Turned into the scapegoat by my father. Because he didn't tell everybody what he exposed me to. Got me sitting here protecting my sister almost every night we at Miss Jerry's house because her son freaked the heck out. This is some true story, I'm telling y'all. Like I said, you can't handle it? Have a nice day. But if you can relate, oh, you better listen up. Because I'm telling you like it is. Or I can tell you but so much, you know. You got to filter this stuff to a certain extent, you know. Let's get back into it.
I feel knowledgeable. I know my rights, kind of a disposition. And you know nothing. You know, it's certainty becomes emotional. Right? If they feel they know it, they know it. Growth stalls completely because they know everything. They know politics, They know a judge's job. They know a police officer's job. They know a surgeon's job. They are not growth oriented. They feel that they know everything. And the door is slammed.
Nate, you're wrong, man. You don't even hear yourself. Don't start lecturing me, all right? You don't know what you're talking about. I do know. We've been friends for years. I'm not going to stand here and watch you lie to yourself. It's not a lie. It's the truth, whether you like it or not. No, it's something you tell yourself so you don't have to face what really happened.
How does this impact you? How does this impact you? You're the truth teller in a family dynamic like this. Right? You're going to become the scapegoat. I hate to say it, and I'm sure you already know it. You're going to become the scapegoat because you're the truth teller. You're the one in the family that sets everybody straight. You're the...
Unfortunately, that is me, the scapegoat. And I'm not like self-righteously doing it. Mine's is through innocence and observation. So because I don't know how to, I don't have it in me to manipulate people. I'm like, I'm honest, and I've always been. Ask anyone. So unfortunately, because I might be out, let's say I'm out with my, I don't know, let me see. In certain scenarios. Now, I'm not saying that I've never lied. I've definitely lied. And got caught, no doubt. I was a horrible liar because my strength is being honest. But I was trying to fit in with certain other family members. And then once I got to the point where I lacked intimacy, we talking about the good stuff, what fathers give their daughters. Hugs. Dad kissing you on your forehead. Holding your hand. You know, certain things like that. See, that stuff I probably can count on two hands how often I got it, especially around the ages that I can remember getting it. So I wound up being starved of affection from him. Like I said, he had his own battles with addiction and alcoholism. And I learned some other things that relate to his childhood and his father and his relationship. Again, that got nothing to do with me. It's our job to get good when we wind up having children. That is not the time for you to be worrying about yourself. You know what I'm saying? You have to get good for your kids. Because they going to have to be good. You know what I'm saying? It's community out here. We can't just be thinking about ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's an ignorant way of leading. Then as far as I'm concerned, you don't deserve a leadership position if that's what you're finna do. Get going. But for me, scapegoat big time. My worst things was like sneaking, like if I had to go to the supermarket, some guy would pull up, try to get my number. I would feel hella important because like I said, when I was growing up, I was called hoes, sluts by my father. I'm gonna just let it out there because you can't see the full picture if I hold certain things back. So with him talking to me like that, and my mother, my self-worth plummeted to the pits of hell. So any compliment from any other guy or boy, it was everything for me. And it gave me a dopamine rush. And then with me having ADHD on top of it, and didn't know that, nor did no one in my family know it, you can see where I'm going with this. Made it way worse. I became like a junkie for that type of attention. Or hugs, or greeting guys with, it would just become a thing. So I would wind up being late coming home from the supermarket. My little sister stressed out because she, now see, I'd be trying to make up lies and say, well, to tell her the line was long. My mom wasn't dumb. They knew it had something to do with me because I would get attention a lot of times, even if I was out with my mom. Lord forbid if I was out with my dad and some guy found me cute. Because a lot of times I would look at the ground when I was out with him. Because he would punch me right in my mouth. It doesn't matter. I could be on SEPTA in the school. Jaw hits is that was his discipline for me. So I had a challenge with my personality and my confidence, I guess you could say. So whenever I was away from him, that was my time to get, I guess you could say, to feel worthy in some sorts of way. So I wound up going way farther than I needed to with that. And now, let's not get it wrong. I lost my virginity between the age of 16 and 17. It was some trauma related to that. So certain little things I get stuck on. But I'm working at those kinks out in therapy. But this is how important a father is in a daughter's life. He created hella wounds and he's completely ignorant to the fact. And then wants nobody to know about it. But then my behavior reflects a problem. And you want to be crystal clean and unscathed. Bye, Felicia, on that one. You tried it. That ain't how this works. The accountability is for all of us to take. So quit hiding underneath your rock. They're there. And own your stuff. I didn't get this way by myself. But I tried to do the best I could with the situations that I was put in. Behind my mother's back, no doubt. Yeah? Let's get back into it.
The family that says, wait a minute, who said you were the king? Who said you were the queen? Right? And when you start pointing out people like that or setting the record straight, then you get pushed into the black sheep role.
Yep.
Why? Because now that family member needs to cause other people to underestimate you, needs to cause other family members to see you in a black sheep role so they can stay on top. Right? It's defensive grandiosity at its best.
Yes, it is.
I need to be at the top. I have to come off as confident. I have to come off as important and significant.
Yep.
And I have to be confident here and overly confident. And I have to prove that I know my stuff.
Full of crap.
So you become the black sheep. Right? Yep. You are pushed away as a threat within the family. You're a threat. You're a threat to the system. You're a threat to the family dynamic. The dynamic is a dynamic. It's a system. And you can't mess with it. And the minute you start pointing things out, you're messing with it.
Yep.
Right? Consider lifting up the hood of your car and looking at all that operation under the hood. That's your entire family. Right? And if you mess with the transmission oil and you start messing with the window washer fluid, right? Things may be okay for a little while. But as soon as you start touching that motor oil, the car may break down, it may start smoking, some things may start going wrong, right?
Falling apart.
You may go to the side of the car and start messing and tampering with the gas line. The whole car is going to shut down, right? And it's like that in a family where you have know-it-alls. It's like that in a family where you have narcissistic
Yes.
family members.
Yes.
It's going to blow up
Yes.
eventually, right? And so you're a threat to that system. You're a threat to that system. You may also, and this is not a slight to you, but we all have to grow, right? You may lack the emotional maturity to deal with a family member like this. And so you may have cussed them out. You may have done things that were not mature. You may have done things that were inappropriate. You may have said things that you shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
You have to rebound from that,
Yes.
you know? And the best way to rebound from that is to take a step back and don't engage. Don't engage. Reinvent your identity with them, right? Take a more mature position. Take a more mature stance. Don't
Right.
talk to them. Don't engage with them. Don't feed them, right? Act like they don't exist in your life. Take
Starve
a
them out.
different approach with them, right? In a family system like this, there's a lot of voice suppression. So you may have suppressed your voice
Yes, I did.
over time. That's
I didn't
another
know it,
impact
though.
upon you.
I didn't know
You may
it.
have learned that if I just be
Not
quiet,
consciously.
right, I can survive, and that's a bad thing to take ahead of you.
Yes, it is.
Because you need to be able to speak. You need to be able to speak your mind. You know, you may also have this kind of
That is so true. I was definitely scared in the submission. Because like I said, my discipline, when I would get disciplined, now I was disciplined by both my parents, not just my father. But his discipline was more about controlling me in a way that was sinister. Because of certain things I would catch him doing. Truth be told. And that wound up being something that I was forced to be quiet about through intimidation. Like a lot of times he would headbutt me, choke me, put me up against the wall. And I wound up being a board for him to release his anger on if he got into it with my mom. Because I would be overprotective with her. Because I knew he was a threat when I was 7. See, my little mind turned into a little Sigma empathic warrior back then. So even though I had hella love for him, and I still do, I also perceive him as a threat. And I didn't know how to be comfortable or feel safe around him, let alone when he would get in arguments with my mom trying to control her too. So because I knew directly what that felt like, I was on guard. So all my other siblings, let's say we watching TV in the living room. He come blasting in, been missing for 3 days. He wants my mom attention. Capricorn energy. You know what I'm saying? Capricorn energy, they move a certain way. They the CEOs of the Zodiac, baby. And she learned silent treatment. And it's very effective when used appropriately. Okay? You can weaponize this in dark or light ways. So don't get it confused. Let's say he come in for whatever reason. You know, natural reaction is to turn around and look if the door open. I turned around and looked, the door open. We all did. But he zeroed in on me, told me to turn the F around. And as much as I wanted to do that, I'd still look, but I turned around at that moment. Ran upstairs. My mom was up there. It's nighttime. I'm hearing arguing. Like glass is being thrown or some shit. I'm on alert because, like I said, I wound up becoming the bodyguard. Just what it was. So I hear some of the scariest sounds. You know, me and my siblings watching TV. They're scared in the submission. Quiet. Especially my younger sister. I'm on guard. So out of nowhere, I see my father fly down the steps, skipping steps. Run. It says like a little cubby hole. We walk forward. A VH1 tape flies down. She must have threw that joint at him because he does things. He antagonized her. He's very narcissistic. And I was looking, but they didn't look. I guess I'm assuming they didn't look. But when I tell you, when he caught eyes with me, he walked up on me. Didn't I say turn the F around? Choked me, and like I started tasting metal. To daytime, I know that was blood. That's how hard he was choking me. I had to be I was 13. And he reeked of beer, alcohol, and sweat. And I hear my mom, James, leave her the F alone. You've been missing. Don't come in here messing with the kids. Leave her alone. And he's just like squeezing and squeezing. And I found it in me because I've been quiet. I never talked back to him. Never tried to defend myself to him until that day. And that's when I experienced, I think it's the first time I had the panic attack feeling. I didn't know that was what a panic attack was, though, because I was so scared to speak up. But I found my words. And I said, leave me alone. I screamed it with a trembling voice and tears flowing and balled up fists shivering. Because I thought he was going to take my head off. And he was looking at me, released my neck, headbutt me, and then he left for the next few days. And then my mom came down and checked on me and let me know that it wasn't my fault. See, this type of stuff would happen a lot. And it went unjust. There was no justice. Police were called different times. Because he was on the lease, it was expected to be worked out in family court. This gotta stop, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm doing these videos. You ain't gotta like me. I'm not doing this to make friends. I'm doing it to raise awareness. So if I can save someone's life or peep them the game, I'm gonna do that. I don't care how anyone feels about it. I just don't. Because I know it's the right thing to do. So, let's continue. This video almost done.
Passive compliance. And that's not good either. That can spread to other areas of your life. I'm just going to comply and go along. Even though I need to say something, I need to speak up, right? Silence becomes a coping skill with people who have emerged from a family of narcissists and know-it-alls.
Yep.
Silence becomes a coping skill, and that's not a good thing either.
That's
you need to know when speaking up is important versus when it's not. You may overthink, people please, and avoid. Bad combination, right?
People please are here.
People please and avoid. It's a prison. But this is what they've done to you. And avoidance of unpredictable emotional environments may actually be what has held you back in your life for so long. If you can't predict the emotional temperature of your family, if you can't predict the emotional temperature of a room, you may stay away from those environments, and it's pulling you away from opportunities that may set you in a very good direction. Job environments, right? Conferences and workshops, maybe certain areas of your family that may be a blessing to you. Relationships, places you need to move, cities you need to be in, states you need to go to, countries you should be vacationing at, right? If you can't predict the emotional temperature of the room, the country, the location, the family, the relationship, it will keep you stuck. Come join me this Friday and Saturday live. I'm going to be talking more about this.
That's the end of this video. Now, if you want to see more of this beautiful woman, this beautiful soul, her name is Tamara Hill. She is on YouTube. What's her channel called? Where is it at? Oh, no, it's Tamara Hill. She's the psycho. How do you say it? The abbreviations is right here. But she dope, y'all. You know what I'm saying? She breaks down so many different toxic family dynamics. She goes in depth. She'll have her little reels, but then she goes live, and she has a whole community of different people, therapists, psychiatrists, just regular people that have been in trauma and never got validation that they were victimized or whatever. She's given so many different people the answers and the validation that they were seeking. Because if you go to the perpetrators in your family trying to hold people accountable for being wrong, inappropriate, they're gonna invalidate you at best. Especially if they stay in toxic. You don't go to those people for help. You gotta find and seek out to other avenues. And that's what I did. Not just with YouTube videos. I have broadened it to all kind of things. Therapy, multi-systemic therapy I've been in to learn how to properly discipline my kids. Because I was raised old-fashioned when it comes to certain disciplines. So I wanted to add on to that so I can expand my knowledge as a parent when it comes to disciplining my children. So they can learn from the mistake versus just fear getting punished by me. That's not going to teach them the lesson they need to not do whatever it was that they did that I had to hold them accountable with in the first place. All of these things have to be talked out. If you want things to change in your family tree, you have to make a stand. If you stay quiet, nothing will change. If you're looking for comfort, nothing will change. If you people pleasing, nothing will change. So I had to learn that the hard way. If you don't want to hold people accountable, nothing will change. I have been holding people accountable. I have been telling my story, my incest story with my cousin who put me in a situation that I was horrified I would be beat up and raped. So I just submitted in the worst way out of fear when I was 18. He know who he is. This is another issue. Too much incest in the families. No one's speaking because of the shame that is involved and the lack of accountability and the cowering. You have to walk into that in a way where you can actually get results that'll save the rest of the children in the family. Because when you stay quiet about the predators in the family, the children suffer. And how is that fair? Because you want to stay safe or not feel shame or not be looked down on. Listen, it is what it is. We have to unstuck ourselves from this ignorant place. It is more than just us that is being affected. You got to think broad. Don't stop and start with yourself when it comes to this stuff. Open your mouth and say something. You could save a life. Or you could stop a rape. Or you could stop abuse. You don't brush it under the rug because don't nobody know how to deal with it. There's all kind of different avenues to increase your knowledge when it comes to these type of areas. It's some real life stuff. And we need the change desperately. There is more incest going on than is being reported. There is more molestation going on than is being reported. There is more physical abuse going on than being reported. I done got punched in my mouth so much by my father. My linings of my cheeks have all kind of bruises that I have to eat a certain way so I don't chomp down on them. Because it healed lumpy. And how's that? This has got to stop. So I'm going to stand up for what's right. Share this video. Get it out and exposed to as many people as possible for obvious reasoning. Do not keep this a secret. Knowledge is only power if it is applied. Or else what's the point? What's the point? I did open up Q&A. I see nobody has any questions. Am I keeping it too real for you? You know? Am I keeping it too real? Because this is one of the reasons people run from me. Because I'm honest. And if they're lying or hiding, by default, they feel revealed around me. That's personal. I'm not trying to reveal you. But if anything, maybe it gave you an opportunity to be honest with yourself. You could benefit off of some self-work. All of us can. No one is perfect. We live in an imperfect world. The devil's playground. We can choose either dark or light in this realm. It's our choice. What do you choose? Think about that. I'm going to be back. You know what I'm saying? And no, I don't give dates. I do it impulsively. It's based on how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Really think about what I just talked about. What I just exposed y'all to. And then start being more intentional about change. Instead of sitting hoping. That's not going to get you nowhere. You got to get intentional. And you got to stop procrastinating. Get up off the couch. And be a better version of yourself. And stop settling for less. Because I know I'm going to rise like some bread in the oven. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna rise, baby. And I'm going to bring my followers with me. We're going to rise together. I'm also setting up for this year. I'm going to be giving out cash giveaways. You know what I'm saying? To people that need the help, no doubt. So stay tuned. I got a lot of little treats that I'm going to be doing and investing in this year. This is going to be a big year. Be on and popping. You know what I'm saying? My following is increasing. I'm close to 5,000 on TikTok and climbing. I have 2 TikToks. One is a business account, one is personal. My personal one, I do a lot of self-expression, humor, astrology, a lot of different things. I mix it up. So some videos you might not see on Facebook. You might only, you might have to follow me on the other platforms to see them. I'm also on Instagram. I'm building, y'all. I'm building. You know what I'm saying? I just started all this in 2023, and I'm building on it, and I'm doing it the right way, not through dishonesty and cheating. So keep an eye out for him, the creative one, y'all, and holla at your girl. Have a wonderful day.